Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Small Talk. I'm just going to give you a brief update on the stock market and what's going on with the Tesla, Elon Musk, Bitcoin, Uber, etc., and Trump tariff, of course. So first thing first, let's talk about the job report this morning. We received April job report, and surprisingly, the job data, I took down some notes. Let me just read those. The data that came out was better than expected. The labor market was, the payroll grew by 177,000, exceeding the expectations of 135,000, which was the forecast. The unemployment rate remained steady at 4.2%. The number of long-term unemployed increased, however, by 179,000 to 1.7 million. Jobless were mainly in the federal government due to the recent job cuts that due to recent workforce cuts that Elon Musk and the Doge project caused all these job cuts. So that's where the job cuts were mainly. So, but overall, the job reports came out pretty good, which as a result, the stock market was rallying this morning. Trump tariff. We all know that Trump has been going on a roller coaster ride with these tariffs. First, he was going to impose very large number of tariffs. I guess those were just his negotiation tactics. And then gradually he just lowered his tariff rate, especially particularly on China, going from 145% to like 25%. But then he announced yesterday that he's going to add tariff on steel and aluminum, I guess, from 25% to 50% on, particularly on China and European Union, which market kind of brushed that off. They didn't think that tariffs uncertainty is going to be a big deal. I guess market has kind of gotten used to this roller coaster ride that it has been since Trump has been talking about tariff. And I guess the analysts and the investors have realized that those are just the negotiation tactics that he's using. And then last week, if you watched my video, I did mention that one of the court has ruled against his tariffs, and they said some of the tariffs were illegal, which within 24 hours, Trump obviously, he couldn't keep his mouth shut and he had to open up his mouth again, and the tariffs were eliminated. But court is still considering that they need to rule against some of the tariffs that Trump is imposing, because those are not part of the international trade policies, and those tariffs are illegal. So that's going to be a battle for a little while. And we all know that Trump is being Trump, and he's kind of narcissist. He is going to fight that. I hope that he has some good advisors surrounding him, which will tell him that it's time for him to kind of get back a little bit and push back a little, so he doesn't, kill the economy completely. But I think stock market has become very resilient to Trump tariffs, to all these small hiccups and fluctuations. It is going higher and higher by the day. If you remember, if you've been investing in the stock market, you know that when S&P 500 drops, usually it takes a few days or few weeks for that to recover. But now what's happening in this market, S&P 500 drops one day and next day it's going up again. So it's like, it's just creating buy the dip opportunity for investors who are waiting on the sideline to buy their favorite stock. So this time the stock market is totally different from what it has been doing in the past with these kind of uncertainties in the market. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Bitcoin. If you watch my videos regularly, I have been saying this for the longest period of time, that once the stock Bitcoin was at $105 last time, $105,000 last time, I told everybody that it's going to drop back to maybe 67,000 range. It didn't go to 67,000, but it did go to 77,000, and then it ran back up. Once it was going back up again, I said, well, if you bought the dip, congratulations, because this time it's going to go to 110,000 K, and then it will drop again. And then eventually, my goal for the end of the year is anywhere between 150 to about $261,000. I know it's quite a wide range, but unfortunately, Bitcoin is an asset which the people who really like it, they like it a lot. And the ones who don't know it or don't understand or don't like it for whatever reason, they're just not into it yet. So there's a high volatility, but this volatility is getting better compared to when it initially started. So my personal opinion is that if you look at the chart for past couple of weeks, The highest price was a little over $111,000. It went $1,000 over my predicted price, and then it started dropping. And now my price prediction is that it will go to $150,000 to all the way to 261,000 by the end of the year, because if it goes up pretty quickly. And then the ultimate price for the Bitcoin is in like the medium term, I think anywhere between $2 to $3 million per coin. We all know the 90% of the Bitcoin that is going to be mined has already been mined, and 90% of the people don't own any Bitcoin. So the potential is huge. The upside potential is so much, because once the demand increases of the Bitcoin, the price is going to skyrocket. And that's why Bitcoin is so volatile, because as more and more people are understanding what Bitcoin is, and they realize that they have to have some percentage, if not all of it, at least in this asset, it is the price goes higher, because there's only limited supply of Bitcoin, and the whole purpose was to have control over the financial sector and make it a free economy, whereas the fiat money is controlled by the federal government. If you have watched my videos, and if you haven't watched my videos, please watch the series of videos under banking, currency, and finance on my YouTube channel. You will find I have made quite a few videos, and I've explained how fiat currency is destroying the economy, not only of the US, but of the world. And this fiat currency is going to cause this economic destruction ultimately. Whether it happens in a year or 10 years, we can't predict that. However, Bitcoin, that's a form of sound digital money which you should own, and because it's scarce and it's limited supply, the value of the Bitcoin is not that it's only going to retain its value, but it's going to grow in value. So this is more like a digital gold versus a physical gold. So therefore, the upside potential is huge, and I think towards the end of the year, the lowest end for me is like $156,000. The high end is all the way to $261,000. Let's see how close I get. But minimum is at least $150,000 to $155,000 range. But before it gets there, it's gonna drop a little bit, because the people who bought at $77,000, they're probably gonna sell it, which they shouldn't, in my opinion. Bitcoin, I've been saying it for months now, that Bitcoin should be used as store of value and held long term. It should not be traded like equities. But of course, everybody has their own opinion. It's not a personalized financial advice. You do you, whatever works for you. But the people who understand fiat currency and the evils of fiat currency and the value of sound money, they're definitely holding Bitcoin for the longest term, so they can take advantage of it when there's an economic crash or financial crash, in the societies and in the countries. The next thing I want to talk about is Uber. Uber is a stock that I have been watching very closely, and the reason being is, I think I mentioned this before, that my husband owns a very large amount of Uber shares, because he worked for Uber and he was given a certain number of equity in Uber. So Uber's the price rating has been reviewed, and the next and they have maintained the $102 price target for Uber, because they just announced a new leadership with Andrew McDonald, who's the current vice president of mobility and business operation. He is being appointed as a president and chief operating officer, COO, of the company. And company has a healthy gross margin of 33.6%, generating about $7.8 billion in free cash flow over the last 12 months, which is a beautiful balance sheet. And I think with such a healthy balance sheet and 33.6% growth, I think Uber has a potential to go to not only $102, but beyond that. Of course, this is the price target that the analysts have given now at the current valuation. But once they have all their new products launched, and I know they're also working with the robotaxis, like full self-driving, because they want to have a fleet of full self-driving added to their to their fleets of cars, because they realize that some of the lawsuits and the problems that they face, those are because of the drivers who are driving these Uber cabs. So they're looking forward to having full self-driving FSD fleet added to their app, and that's how they're going to grow their business. Also, their Uber deliveries are being improved as well. And I think they're going to have, I know they were partnering with Serve Robotics to have the food delivery done by robots, but then I guess they kind of backed off from that. I don't know if they're doing some other company where the robots will be delivering the Uber deliveries instead of an individual doing it. So all these future anticipation, I think Uber has a much better growth potential compared to some of the other competitors like Lyft and Cream and all those things. Last but not the least, Tesla, my favorite. Elon Musk tweeted this morning, because if you guys have been listening to news, we know there's this big, beautiful bill that Trump has been talking about, and he was trying to get this big, beautiful bill approved by the Congress. And we know that, of course, Democrats were not agreeing to it. But in politics, we all know, hey, listen, you do something for me, in return, I'll do something for you. When it comes to Trump, he says, you do something for me or I will kill you, pretty much. But I guess he's probably learning how to be politically correct. Somehow this bill got approved yesterday, and Elon Musk was not happy. It looks like the honeymoon period is over between Elon Musk and Trump. First, he announced that he's not going to fund any political campaigns in the future, or he'll be very mindful of spending money on the political campaigns in the future. Second, he quit Doge, and then he's spending 24/7, sleeping at his business, focusing on Tesla and XAI and X and all those things, which kind of improved the confidence of the investors, and people jumped back into Tesla, and Tesla stock has been doing pretty well in the past couple of weeks since he announced, or 3 weeks since he announced. Also, the other big catalyst that people are looking forward to is the robotaxi event, which recently a news came out. First they said in June, but nobody knew what the date was, and now the expected date is, the rumor is the date is June 12th. That's when the limited fleet of robotaxis is going to be introduced in Austin, Texas area. So people are looking forward to this big event. I feel like once the robotaxi event is introduced and is out, I think there is going to be sell the news kind of event, and Tesla stock might drop a little bit. It might not, but I think for the most part, that's what investors do. They've been buying into this news, into this rumor that there's a robotaxi event coming up in June. Once that's up and out, I think people are going to take some profit, and it's going to put a downward pressure on Tesla. Not a personalized financial advice. If you want to sell it at that point and maybe buy back cheaper, feel free to do that. But if you want to hold long term, I think Tesla has much better potential, because it's, as Kathy Wood keeps saying, that it is a $2 trillion market that's being added because of their humanoid robots and all that good stuff. So Elon Musk, that being said, Elon Musk tweeted this morning after the bill was passed yesterday, and I'm going to read it exactly. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is disgusting and abomination, whatever that means. I don't know what that word means, but you guys figure it out. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. This tweet made me smile, because here it's Elon Musk who funded Trump's campaign. He was the first buddy of Trump for so long. He has been eating, sleeping, spending too much time at the White House, and then he realized that all this touting and behind kissing is just not working for him. Trump is doing his things, and it's actually ruining Tesla's reputation and Elon Musk's reputation. And we have seen this, how much damage has been done to Tesla and Elon Musk in the past, with him laying off so many federal government employees and causing jobless and unemployment. I just read the report that most of the unemployment that we saw, the long-term unemployment that we saw, was because of the federal government employees who have been laid off when Elon Musk was working at Doge. So all that, he did it for Trump, and none of that helped. Rather, it damaged his companies and his reputation. So I think he has realized that it's better to be independent and not try to have politicians in his pocket, because sometimes it doesn't work. For the most part, it does work though. Anyways, so that's his tweet. And after he tweeted, I think when I read this tweet this morning, I was like, oh my God, this is going to crash Tesla. But I think I processed it wrong. That made investors so excited that Tesla stock kind of ran up quite a bit after this tweet came out, which later on I was like, yeah, it was supposed to run up because it kind of gives a certification and confidence to Tesla investors that Elon Musk is completely out and about of White House and Trump's business, and he's going to focus fully and completely on his businesses, on his, on Tesla as a company. Also, in Australia, the sales grew despite all the hiccups that Tesla has been facing, which also kind of gave Tesla stock a boost this morning. So Tesla is going to be doing fine until June 12th. There may be a small pullback because it's going to be sell the news kind of event, unless they mention something big in their robotaxi day. Then maybe the Tesla stock will keep going. But I think some people are going to take profit, some investors, because it has ran up about $100 from its last low prices. So there will be people who will be taking profits, sell the news kind of event, and then after that, I think it's going to go up to 400. And finally, Dan Ives have raised his price target to $500 towards the end of the year. It will go to 500 eventually towards the end of the year, which is amazing. At that point, I think I'm going to sell all of my shares, and then I'll wait and see if there's a pullback. I'll buy back in again, or maybe I'll invest elsewhere. So having said that, what's my plan for the remainder of the week? I'm still holding Tesla. We're still holding Uber, everything, full position. We just had to trim our position a little bit because we were buying an investment property and we needed some cash, because interest rates are so high that you cannot afford to buy property by getting a loan, because then it's not worth it. So if you have money sitting on the side, it's a good time to buy properties, because the housing market and real estate is kind of crashing. That's putting lots of pressure on the economy, and that's due to the high interest rates. There aren't that many people who are looking to buy. I mean, there are people who are looking to buy a house, but they're stuck in their current homes because the interest rate is like 2.25%, 2.5%. There's no way that they can sell those houses and buy. Even smaller house will cost them more money because of the higher interest rates. So therefore, housing market is pretty doomed right now. And you can get very good deals if you have cash in your pocket. And that's what we did. We took advantage of these good deals on a commercial property and on some rental property. So we did trim some of our position, but most of it we're still holding. I'm still holding Tesla. I don't have Bitcoin. I keep telling everybody, regretfully, I was waiting for it to go down to 67 or at least $70,000, which it didn't happen. And it's such an expensive asset that I just didn't want to buy it at high price. I was just looking to get it at the best price that I possibly could. Hopefully it will drop back again and I will be able to nibble on it a little bit. So I'm still bullish, pretty optimistic. I think economy is going to do fine. All those bears who've been saying we're going to hit recession or stagflation and yada, 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 they probably don't understand economics. I've been saying it for more than a year that we have lived through recession. If you look at the data, if you look at the job report, small hiccups are there, because when the economy is recovering from recession, it takes some time for it to come back to its normal. And then with Trump being all over the place, that doesn't help, because once the stock market crashes, it does put some pressure on the economy, which is why some of the analysts were convinced that Trump is going to cause recession. But I was because I know Trump does not like to be known as the villain of the country. He likes to be known as the best president. He likes to be praised. And I knew he will not let the economy crash to the point, or stock market crash to the point where we may hit recession again. And I was pretty optimistic. And that's exactly what happened. We have been going through the rolling recession, and the final recession took place during the Trump tariff trade war, when even the high investment higher investors were also feeling the pain, and I think that was the final phase of the recession. That's what I've been saying, and that's exactly what Kathy Wood said. And trust me, she said it after I said it, because her video came last month. She releases one video once a month on economy and uh, uh, political, the government policies, etc. And in that video, I heard her say that, and I was like, "See, we're on the same page." Um, so, having said that, I think everything is going to be fine. The price target for S&P 500 is going to be $6,500, which I think we're going to reach there sooner than later. Some analysts were of the opinion that we'll get to $7,000 by the end of the year, which is still possible with the way market is running, unless Trump causes some other chaos or something drastic, God forbid, happens. Then, of course, as I said, stock market is never guaranteed, but the way things are going, it's still pretty possible for S&P 500 to not only hit $6,500, but also possibly to reach close to $7,000 range. So overall, good market, very bullish. Not a personalized financial advice. If you are in profit, don't hesitate to sell some of your position and put some money in your pocket. You never lose money by selling. You can always buy the dips, because dips do come and go, and there's always so many opportunities in the market. Oh, Nvidia, my gosh. It has been everybody's darling. It has had small problem in past couple of months since that China's AI came out, and things happened, and then everybody was reluctant to buy Nvidia. But I think with the last earning call that they had, lots of things have been cleared, and Nvidia is running again. It still hasn't touched its all-time high of 152-week high of $153, but I think there's more chance and opportunity of it getting there sooner, sometime maybe in the next couple of weeks or even sooner than that. So I think Nvidia is a good buy to hold for long term, because there's lots of upside potential. As I said, AI is still at a very initial phase of its development, so we have a long way to go. As Dan Ives would say, it's only 9 o'clock at night and party's gonna go until 4 a.m. in the morning. So we have a long hours to go before this AI mania will cool down. So Nvidia, Palantir, all these mega companies are doing. CoreWeave, my God, if you've been following CoreWeave, I didn't pay attention to it until I start hearing people talking about it, and my God, I missed the boat, I guess, on CoreWeave. So I'm waiting for a dip to come, and then maybe I will start a position in CoreWeave. If you haven't started a position, don't buy it yet. It's gonna go higher, but I don't want to be greedy and chase it right now, because it has gone up so much. There will be a pullback, and I'm gonna start a small position and then maybe grow my position gradually. That's a good stock to invest as well, for long-term investment, not for trading. Even, I mean, you can trade it too, but usually these kind of companies I like to hold long-term. For trading, I usually use mid-cap and small-cap stocks. So if you don't know what mid-cap and small caps are, the large caps are all the companies which have valuation of $10 billion or higher. Anything below $10 billion is not considered large mega caps. They're considered mid-cap, and then small cap is like even very low float. So you can just read a little bit about it, just to familiarize yourself how to trade these stocks. Small caps are very risky. I have lost lots of money, and I have made lots of money. So it's like hit or miss, higher the risk, higher the reward kind of situation. Anyways, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe, give my video a thumbs up. Please be safe. Don't invest the money that you're not willing to lose. Be careful, be cautious, and make some money. Until next one, take care.